I want to start today's deep dive by asking you to uh, just visualize something specific with me for a moment. Picture a treadmill.
Okay.
Not some metaphorical one, but a real, literal, industrial grade gym treadmill. And you're on it, you've got the gear on, the running shoes are laced up super tight, you're sweating.
I can feel it already.
Right. And the incline is cranked up to like 12. So you're basically climbing a hill that just never, ever ends. And you're staring at that little red digital display.
The numbers.
The numbers, watching the calories burn, watching the distance tick up, point 0.1, point 0.2. And you are just absolutely exhausted. Your lungs are burning, but you keep telling yourself, if I just run one more mile, if I just push a little bit harder, then I'll finally be fit. Then I'll finally get there.
It's a very vivid and, I think, for a lot of people, a very visceral image.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate thing is, that's not just a gym routine. That's exactly how so many of us approach our inner lives.
Right. It's the spiritual treadmill. We treat our search for peace, for growth, for mental health, whatever you want to call it, exactly like that workout.
It becomes a project.
A huge project. It's a to-do list that just hangs over your head. I have to meditate for 20 minutes before I even have coffee. I have to journal 3 pages. I have to do the yoga.
And if you miss a day, you feel guilty. You feel like you failed.
Exactly. There's this heavy underlying feeling that peace of mind is this massive snow-capped mountain way off in the distance.
And you're standing at the bottom of it with a 50-pound backpack on.
Yes. Staring up at the summit, just thinking, oh my God, I have to climb all of that. I'm already tired just looking at it. It just feels like a constant struggle against gravity. It feels like work.
It's what some people call the exhaustion of self-improvement. And the irony is it's palpable, isn't it?
Yeah.
The very pursuit of peace becomes the single biggest source of stress in your life.
You're working so hard to relax that you're burning out.
You're anxious about not being calm enough?
Which is the ultimate absurdity when you think about it. And that right there brings us to the hook for today's deep dive. Because honestly, when I read the source material, it stopped me in my tracks.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at a text called The Sovereign Path to Eternal Consciousness.
Yeah.
And specifically, we're going to be dissecting a special note and a set of daily affirmations that are in it. And the reason this text grabbed me is because it basically suggests that the treadmill, the mountain, the heavy backpack, it suggests that entire perspective is a hallucination.
It proposes a really radical shift. It asks a question that's a little destabilizing at first, which is, what if that entire way of looking at it is wrong? What if the map you've been using is actually upside down?
What if you're not climbing a mountain at all?
What if you're just walking back into your own living room?
That is the core promise we are exploring today. And I want to be really clear to everyone listening. We're not looking at an instruction manual on, how to climb faster or how to suffer more efficiently. This text felt different. It felt more like a letter.
It is a letter. It's explicitly addressed to Priya Atma, which translates to Dear Soul. So the tone isn't a guru shouting from a pedestal or, a drill sergeant demanding more push-ups.
No.
It's a reminder. It's like a letter from a friend who's trying to gently shake you awake.
Hmm?
And it's all about this fundamental shift in mindset, moving from what it calls a transactional model of spirituality
Right.
to what the text calls the ownership model.
The ownership model. I love that phrasing, and we are going to spend a lot of time on that. So our mission today is to deconstruct this. We're going to talk about why we treat the universe like a vending machine. We're going to unpack this central metaphor of the diamond, and we're going to go really deep into 5 specific codes or affirmations that are designed to reprogram what the text calls our cosmic coding.
It's a lot of ground to cover. But I think we should start where the text starts, with that feeling of exhaustion, with the mountain.
Let's do it. So section 1, the text opens with this very direct comparison. The mountain versus the home. It says, spirituality is often presented like climbing a mountain, where every step involves fatigue and doubt.
And I think we need to pause right there on that word doubt, because that part is so insidious.
It is. It's not just the physical effort, the fatigue. It's the mental uncertainty.
Yes.
When you view your spiritual growth or your happiness as a mountain you have to climb, you automatically introduce a gap, a distance.
Distance between
Between you here, who is, unhappy, incomplete, stressed, anxious, and you there, the enlightened, peaceful, Zen version of yourself standing on top of the peak.
And the gap between those 2 points is the climb. That's
Yeah.
the work.
Precisely. And that entire gap is filled with uncertainty. It's filled with questions like, am I doing this right? Is my meditation actually working? Why do I still get angry? I've been climbing for 10 years. Why haven't I reached the summit yet? It reminds me so much of the modern hustle culture being applied to mindfulness. You see it everywhere, especially online. People are trying to win at meditation.
Oh, absolutely. The gamification of it.
Yeah, I did 30 minutes today. I'm crushing it. I'm on a 100-day streak on my app. But underneath all that bravado, there's this quiet fatigue, this constant question, am I there yet? Did I unlock the next level?
It's the fatigue of constant becoming. You're always trying to become something that you currently are not. You're trying to become calm. You're trying to become wise. And as long as you are trying to become it,
You're reinforcing the idea that you aren't it right now.
that's the paradox. The effort reinforces the lack.
Yeah.
If you're desperately digging in the desert for water, every single scoop of the shovel is an acknowledgement that you are thirsty and the land is dry.
And that's where the source material just flips the table on this whole thing. It says, but I want to tell you that this is not like climbing a mountain, but like returning to your own home.
Let's really psychologically unpack that difference. Climbing versus returning. The words we use, the frames we put on things, they change how our brains engage with the entire process.
Immensely. Climbing it's adversarial. It's conquest.
Yes, conquest is the perfect word. It requires strategy, equipment, strength, endurance. You're fighting against gravity. You are an intruder on the mountain trying to claim its peak against the elements. You have to prove you belong up there.
But returning home.
Returning home is surrender. It implies safety. It implies familiarity. You don't need to learn a new skill to walk into your own living room. You don't need a map to find your own bed.
You just go there.
You just go there. It suggests the destination isn't some new alien territory. It's the place you already belong. You're not an intruder. You are the resident. It's an act of rest, an act of effort.
It sounds lovely. It sounds so much better, but I have to play devil's advocate for a second.
Please.
Because if it's just going home, why is it so hard? Why do we struggle with it so much? Why do we naturally default to the mountain climbing mode? It feels like work.
That's a fair question. And the source text actually names the trap. It talks about sadhana, which is the Sanskrit term for any kind of spiritual practice, and how it often becomes a deal.
Right, the transactional trap.
Yes. This is one of the most crucial insights in the text. It says, we turn our practice, or sadhana, into a deal or a bargain, and we do it out of ignorance.
And the logic goes something like, if I do this much chanting or this much meditation, then God or the universe or whatever.
Must give me moksha. Must give me liberation. It's an invoice. I did the work. Now pay me.
It's the if-then fallacy. We treat the universe like a giant cosmic vending machine.
Oh, yes.
I put in my 30-minute mindfulness coin, I punched the button for serenity, and now I'm standing there with my arms crossed, waiting for my spiritual candy bar to drop.
And if the candy bar doesn't drop, if you still feel stressed after your meditation, what do?
You kick the machine.
You kick the machine. This is a ripoff. This guru is broken. I want a refund. We become angry consumers of spirituality. And the source argues that this ideology is the very thing that makes us desperate. Because if you view peace as a wage that you have to earn, you are constantly auditing your own hours.
You're always looking at your timesheet. Did I work hard enough today to deserve to be happy?
And what's the answer almost every single time? No. I could have done more. Because the mind is a bottomless pit of desire and self-criticism. If you think you have to earn your worthiness, you will never, ever feel you've paid enough. It creates this constant low-grade background radiation of anxiety.
And you're waiting for some external authority, God, the guru, the universe, to sign off on your timesheet and finally grant you your liberation.
And the text just wants to shatter that transaction entirely.
It wants to tear up the contract.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's no contract. There is no boss. There's nothing to earn.
And it shatters it with a metaphor that is. I mean, it's really the centerpiece of this entire philosophy. The diamond. The diamond is mine.
It's not a request. It's a declaration of ownership. The text introduces this concept of malakana haq.
Which translates to what, roughly?
Ownership, right? Or birthright. It's something that is inherently unshakably yours. It's not something you can acquire because you already have it. It can't be given to you, and more importantly, it can't be taken away.
Okay, so help me distinguish this on a practical level. If I'm a seeker, I'm looking for the diamond. If I'm an owner, I have the diamond. But what does that shift actually look like in my day-to-day life? How does it feel different?
Okay, think about your house keys or your phone.
Yeah.
You know that you own them, right?
Right.
If you can't find your keys in your pocket for a second, do you immediately panic and assume you're homeless? Do you assume you've been evicted from your own life?
No, of course not. I just assume I misplaced them or they're in my other jacket. I might get annoyed for a minute, but I'm not having an existential crisis over it.
Exactly. You search for them, but you search with the calm confidence of ownership. You aren't trying to acquire keys. You're just trying to locate keys, you already possess. The anxiety level is low because the ownership is already established.
So the text is saying, you are not a beggar on the street asking for a handout of peace.
You are a wealthy owner who has momentarily forgotten what's in their own pocket.
That changes the entire nature of the search. It's not a desperate scramble anymore. You aren't looking for something new. You're looking at what you already have.
You're not trying to build the house. You're just fumbling for the light switch in a dark room.
Precisely. And this leads to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? If I already have the diamond, if the house is already mine, then why should I meditate? Why do the yoga? Why bother with any spiritual practice at all? If I'm already spiritually rich, why should I work?
That's the logical next step. It's a very common one. Does ownership mean I just become lazy?
Right. Do I just sit on the couch and eat chips all day? Is that enlightenment?
The source gives a really beautiful answer to this, and it's one of my favorite parts of the whole text. It says, when you know the diamond is yours, your sadhana, your practice, doesn't feel like a burden.
It becomes an utsav.
A festival. A celebration.
A celebration that is such a different energy. It's a completely different flavor.
It's night and day.
You aren't meditating to get peace. You're meditating to celebrate the peace that you already have inherent within you.
Exactly. It's the difference between running to catch a bus because you're late and you're panicked and running on the beach just because it feels good to move your body in the sun.
One is fueled by stress and lack. The other is fueled by joy and abundance.
The mechanics are the same. Your legs are moving, your heart is beating, you're sweating. But the internal experience is the polar opposite. The text has this line that's a little bit of a brain twister at first. It says, you don't run to succeed. You run because of the reason of being successful.
Running from a place of success. Okay, let's break that down because it sounds counterintuitive.
In the old model, the mountain model, you are running towards success. You start from a position of being a failure or incomplete, and you're running to try and reach that finish line where you finally become successful. Your fuel is deficiency. You run because you are lacking something.
Right. I'm empty, so I'm running to get full. Simple.
Yeah. But in the ownership model, you start at the finish line. You accept as a premise, as an axiom, that you are already complete. You are already successful in the deepest spiritual sense. So the question changes.
It's not, how do I get there?
It's, now that I'm here, how do I express this? You run to express your inherent health. You practice kindness not to try and become a good person, but because you are recognizing the goodness that is already your nature.
It shifts the entire motivation from fear, I must do this or I'll be miserable, to love and gratitude. I get to do this because I am already whole.
And that, the source argues, is the only sustainable way to live. Because you can't run on fear forever. Eventually, you cramp up, you burn out.
And you start to resent the process. If you're only doing something for the reward at the end, you learn to hate the work itself.
But if you're doing the work as an expression of who you already are, the work itself becomes the reward. The practice becomes the prize.
The source also touches on something that I think trips a lot of us up, especially if we've dabbled in meditation or any kind of introspection. It makes a really clear distinction between experiences and being.
Anubhutian versus hana. And this is crucial, especially today. We live in an experience economy.
Totally.
We are conditioned to consume experiences. We want the best vacation, the most amazing meal, the best high. And we bring that same consumer mindset into our spiritual lives. We want the fireworks.
Oh, I have been so guilty of this. You sit down to meditate and you're secretly hoping for the cosmic light show.
Yes.
You want to feel your chakras spinning or see beautiful colors or feel this wave of oceanic bliss wash over you. And if you just sit there for 20 minutes thinking about your grocery list and your back hurts,
You feel like you failed.
you feel like you failed. You think, well, nothing happened.
You judge the entire session based on the quality of the special effects. But the text gives us a crucial reminder. Experiences, by their very nature, come and go. They are transient.
They're unstable.
Totally unstable.
Yeah.
You might have a great blissful meditation today, and then tomorrow your knee hurts and you're distracted the whole time. If you attach your spiritual worth to those peak, high-flying experiences, you're just putting yourself on a roller coaster.
Up and down, chasing the good feeling, running from the bad.
You are chaining your sense of peace to things that are inherently, by design, impermanent.
So what is the alternative? What is being? If it's not the experience, what is it?
Being is described in the text with the word etal, which means immovable, unshakable. Think of the sky and the weather.
Okay.
The weather is the experience. Sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it's storm, sometimes it's foggy or windy. It's constantly changing. But the sky is the container for all of it.
And the sky doesn't get wet when it rains.
Exactly. The sky doesn't get burnt when the sun is out. It doesn't get cut by a bolt of lightning. The sky just is. It holds all of the experiences without being defined by any of them.
And the text is urging us, don't chase the weather. Be the sky.
Identify with the container, not the content that is constantly churning within it.
That is a huge relief, seriously. Because it means I don't have to constantly chase peak experiences. I don't need the fireworks every time I close my eyes.
The goal isn't the fireworks. The goal is recognizing the vast, silent sky that allows the fireworks to appear and disappear.
It sounds so simple when you put it like that, but our minds are. They're just conditioned to chase. We're wired for the hunt.
We are. And the text has a great term for this deep conditioning. It calls it our cosmic coding.
Cosmic coding, it sounds a bit sci-fi.
It does, but it's really just talking about our deep-seated mental habits, right? The operating system that's running in the background all the time.
Yo,
Is the OS. And the source argues that our current default OS is buggy. It's prone to crashing. It's full of malware, these little viruses like, I am not enough, I need more of this, I am my body, I am my thoughts.
And so the text provides a patch, a software update.
A protocol to rewrite this code. It offers 5 specific daily affirmations, or atmetnishche, that are designed to be a practice, something to be done morning and night.
So this is the really practical toolkit of this deep dive. We've gone through the philosophy, the why, now let's look at the how, the actual application.
The source says to repeat these 5 sutras, or codes, with a calm mind. And it's important to walk through them one by one because they really build on each other. It's a very logical progression.
All right, let's decode them. Affirmation number 1, I am free. The Hindi phrasing is Main Muktun.
And the text elaborates on this. It says, I am not a living being bound by the limits of body or mind, but a fraction of infinite consciousness.
That is a big opening statement. That's the fundamental identity shift right there.
It is. Think about how much time we spend identifying with our limitations. All day long. I'm tired, I'm anxious, I'm not a morning person, I'm bad at math, I'm a mid-level manager at a paper company.
I am my divorce, I am my debt. We take these temporary labels and we tattoo them onto our soul, and then we wonder why we feel so heavy.
This first affirmation is designed to cut that cord. It asserts that your fundamental true nature is freedom. You are not the cage of your circumstances or your personality. You are the bird that can fly out of it.
So you're starting your day by reminding yourself that you are fundamentally bigger than your problems.
Exactly.
But couldn't that be seen as a form of denial? You know, if I have a pile of debt, I have a pile of debt. Just saying I am free doesn't actually pay the bills.
It's a very important question. And no, it's not denial. It doesn't pay the bills, but it changes who is paying the bills.
What do you mean?
If you identify as the debtor, as this person drowning in red ink, you operate from a place of shame and fear and contraction.
Mm-hmm.
You make panicked, short-sighted decisions. You shrink. But if you identify as free consciousness that is currently experiencing a financial challenge,
You have distance. You have perspective.
you have clarity. You can solve the problem because you aren't completely fused with it. You aren't drowning in the problem anymore.
It's like zooming out. You stop being the problem and you start being the solver of the problem. Okay, that makes sense. Let's move to affirmation number 2. The diamond is mine. Here am I. Hi, hi. We've talked about this as the core metaphor, but what is repeating this daily doing to the brain? What's its function?
Its primary function is to kill the seeker.
Kill the seeker.
The seeker is a persona, a role we adopt. The one who is always looking, always striving, always feeling that it is somewhere else. This affirmation is a command. Stop looking, you already have it. It constantly reiterates that moksha, liberation, peace, it's your nature. It's not some external object you have to find in the future.
So it stops the waiting game. It yanks you out of that I'll be happy when mindset.
Exactly. I'll be happy when I get the promotion. I'll be happy when I lose 10 pounds. I'll be happy when I retire. No. The diamond is here. Now.
It brings you violently, beautifully back to the present moment. It forces you to ask, if I already have everything I truly need, how do I want to spend this moment?
It moves your entire psychological orientation from getting to being.
Okay. Affirmation number 3. This one is my favorite, I think, and it's the most visually helpful for me. Witness attitude. Sakshibhav.
This is a classic concept in many Eastern philosophies, but the source here gives it a very specific and modern metaphor. The script.
Right. It says, I am only a character in the script of the world, not the real player. I watch my happiness and sorrow like an audience.
This is the movie analogy. It's incredibly powerful. Imagine you're sitting in a dark cinema eating popcorn. On the screen, the hero is going through a terrible breakup, or they're losing their job, or they're being chased by a dinosaur. As the audience member, you feel the suspense. Your heart rate might go up. You might even shed a tear if it's a really sad scene. But deep down, do you actually fear for your life?
No, not at all. I know I'm safe in my plushy seat. I know I'm not the person on the screen. And I know that when the credits roll, I'm just going to get up and walk out into the lobby.
Exactly. You are safe. You are untouched. But in our actual lives, we think we are the character on the screen. When I have a bad day at work, I don't feel like I'm in the audience. I feel like I'm the guy getting eaten by the T-Rex.
I feel every single bite.
That is the illusion this affirmation is designed to break.
Yeah.
It's a tool to create detachment. It separates the character, the biological, psychological person who suffers and enjoys, from the player or the witness, which the text says is the real self.
So when you say this affirmation in the morning, you're essentially programming yourself for the day ahead. You're saying, okay, today my character might get stuck in traffic, he might get some bad news, he might have an awkward conversation, but I, the player, am just watching the plot unfold.
It creates a buffer zone, a space between you and your emotions, and in that space, sanity lives.
You stop being the victim of your life story and start becoming the observer of it.
And that's the difference between saying, I am angry, which is a total identification,
It consumes you.
and saying, I notice that a feeling of anger is arising. The small linguistic shift changes everything. It gives you a choice.
And that choice, that space, leads perfectly into affirmation number 4, which is about behavior. Pure conduct. Shuddh Acharan.
Yeah.
This one is really interesting to me because usually when we talk about ethics or morality, it's all about rules. A list of don'ts. Don't steal because it's bad. Don't lie or you'll be punished.
Right. It's typically fear-based morality, or it's about social compliance, fitting in. But the source takes a completely different angle. It asks a more fundamental question. Why do we behave badly in the first place? Why do we steal or lie or get jealous or cheat?
Well, usually it's because we want something we feel we don't have. We feel like we're missing out on something. There's a sense of lack.
Exactly. We act out of a feeling of scarcity. We feel empty, so we try to snatch things from the outside world to fill that inner void. We steal money because we feel poor. We steal credit for an idea at work because we feel unworthy. We get intensely jealous because we feel insecure about our own value.
So scarcity is the root of what we might call sin.
But look at how the affirmation addresses this. It says, since I am myself complete and full, I have no need to snatch anything from anyone or be jealous.
That's a powerful logical argument. If
Huh.
I truly deeply believe the diamond is mine, if I feel already rich in spirit.
Then why would you bother stealing pennies from someone else? If you're a spiritual billionaire, you don't need to shoplift a candy bar from the gas station. It would be absurd.
It's beneath you, not because the police might be watching, but because you just don't have the need. There's no impulse.
If you are full, the source says your actions naturally, spontaneously become sahaj arshib, spontaneous and auspicious. You don't have to force yourself to be a good person by gritting your teeth and following rules. Goodness just becomes the natural overflow of your own inner completeness.
So it flips morality from being a set of external rules you have to follow to being an internal side effect of your state of being.
Its ethics derive from abundance, not from fear. And that makes it unshakable because it doesn't depend on your willpower, which can fail. It depends on your core identity.
Wow. Okay, and finally that brings us to affirmation number 5, absolute faith. Param Vishwas.
This one is the safety net for the whole practice.
The safety net. How so?
Because let's be realistic.
Right.
Even if we do all these affirmations, we're human. We're going to have bad days. We're going to lose our cool at the barista. We're going to get sucked into doom scrolling for 3 hours. We're going to forget everything we just talked about and act from a place of scarcity.
And the danger in that moment is the spiral. Oh no, I messed up. I lost all my progress. I'm back at the bottom of the mountain again.
Guilt trip. The shame spiral. I'm a spiritual failure.
This affirmation is the antidote to that. It says, even if there is an obstacle in my sadhana today, I am immovable. My diamond is safe and I will attain it. And then it ends with this incredible timeline collapsing statement: I was free, I am free, and I will remain free.
It gives you permission to have a bad day without it turning into a catastrophe, it says.
No.
No, the diamond is safe. You didn't lose it. You just forgot you had it in your pocket for a few hours. Nothing fundamental was lost. You, your true self, are immovable.
I was free, I am free, and I will remain free. It's almost like you're asserting that your freedom is a fact of physics, like gravity. It's not a mood that you have to constantly maintain.
It removes the pressure of time. You aren't in a race against the clock to get enlightened before you die. You are asserting a timeless, unchanging truth about your own nature, and that allows you to relax into the practice.
And paradoxically, when you relax, you actually make more progress, if we can even use that word anymore.
Exactly.
So, just to recap the whole stack, we have these 5 codes. Number 1, I am free, that's the identity. Number 2, the diamond is mine, that's possession. Number 3, witness attitude, that's perspective. 4, pure conduct behavior. And 5, absolute faith resilience. It's a really complete package for reprogramming the mind.
It covers all the bases.
Yeah.
Who you are, what you have, how you see, how you act, and how you endure when things go wrong.
But here's where it gets really interesting for me. The source doesn't just leave us with a list of affirmations. It poses a question, a self-reflection. And I think this is the so what of this entire deep dive.
This is the thought experiment. This is where you, the listener, really have to engage. The source asks, if you were convinced today that your liberation is certain and you are the form book God, what change would come in your way of living and your behavior towards others today?
Let's really brainstorm this, because this is the application. Forget if. Let's say I gave you a guarantee, a signed, notarized contract from the universe that said, you made it, you're good, enlightenment is done, you literally cannot fail. How does your Tuesday morning change?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is anxiety. Think about how much of our anxiety comes from uncertainty about the future, about the outcome.
Will I be okay? Will I survive this presentation? Will I get fired? Will they like me?
All of it. If the ultimate answer to will I be okay is a guaranteed cosmic yes, you will be fine, the anxiety it evaporates.
Right. If I know the movie has a happy ending, I don't get so stressed out during the scary parts in the middle. I can actually kind of enjoy the suspense. I can lean into the drama of it.
And think about conflict. Why do we fight with other people? Why do we get into arguments online or with our family?
Usually to defend something. Our ego, our status, our territory, our ideas. We fight because we feel threatened on some level.
But if you are the form of God, if you are infinite consciousness, what is there to defend? What could possibly threaten you?
It's like an elephant getting into a fight with an ant. You wouldn't even bother. You'd just be benevolent. You'd just step around it.
And this is the paradox. Realizing you have nothing to lose actually makes you behave better, not worse. Some people have this fear that if they were already saved or enlightened, they'd just become lazy or immoral.
Right. The why follow the rules if I've already won the game argument. I'll just rob a bank or stop working.
But the source argues the absolute opposite. When you know the outcome is secure, you become sahaj, natural, spontaneous, easy. You stop trying so hard to prove yourself. You stop posturing. You stop performing for everyone. You can finally just live.
You become kind because you can afford to be. You have an infinite bank account of kindness. You become patient because you aren't rushing to get somewhere you already are.
The rush is over.
You're home.
It really circles all the way back to that first image we started with. The mountain versus the home. If you're climbing the mountain, every single person you meet on the path is either a helper or an obstacle.
Your relationship with them is purely transactional.
Can you help me? Could you give me some of your water? No. Then get out of my way. You're slowing me down.
That's a grim way to live, constantly viewing everyone as either a stepping stone or a stumbling block. It isolates you completely.
But if you're sitting in your living room, fully secure, warm, fed, and someone knocks on the door, what do?
You invite them in for tea.
Exactly. Your relationship with the entire world shifts from one of conquest to one of hospitality.
That is such a beautiful way to put it. Hospitality. That's what this sovereign path is like to be about. Being hospitable to the present moment, because you know you own the house.
And realizing that the guest, whether that guest is a difficult emotion, another person, or a challenging situation, that guest cannot threaten your ownership. The diamond is yours. Hira mera hi. Even if the guest spills red wine on your carpet, you still own the house.
You can clean it up. It's not a fundamental crisis. It's just a stain.
It gives you a sense of humor about life.
Yes. Humor is the hallmark of the witness. If you take the script of your life with deadly seriousness, you're going to be miserable. But if you know it's a script, you can laugh at the absurdity of it all. You can appreciate the plot twists.
Absolutely.
So to bring it all together, we've gone on this journey from the exhausting climb up the mountain to sitting comfortably on the sofa in our own home.
We realized we aren't trying to earn a wage from God. We're simply celebrating a birthright.
We've swapped the transactional ledger for the ownership deed.
A beautiful summary.
And we've got these 5 cosmic codes to keep us on track when the old programming, the old habits of the mind, try to sneak back in.
And they will.
Yeah.
We have to be clear about that.
Yeah.
The neural pathways of the mountain mindset are deep. We've been walking them for decades. That's why the text insists this is a daily affirmation practice.
It's not one and done.
Not at all. You can't just say it once and expect the entire OS to update permanently. You have to re-enter the code every morning to remind the system of its true nature.
It's like gym work for the soul, but instead of running on a treadmill that goes nowhere, you're just stretching into your own skin.
A much gentler and ultimately more effective workout.
I want to leave our listeners with one final thought, something that kind of builds on that script idea that we talked about. The Source makes this distinction between being the player and being the character.
Yes, the audience and the actor.
If you really take that to heart, really let it sink in. Think about the next time you have a stressful deadline at work, or a difficult conversation you've been dreading, or you just spill coffee all down your clean shirt.
The small and large dramas of life.
Exactly. If you are just the player watching the character, then maybe that stress isn't a life or death crisis. Maybe it's just a plot twist.
A necessary bit of conflict to make the movie interesting.
Right. Who wants to watch a movie where nothing happens? Who wants to watch a 2-hour film where the hero just naps on the couch?
That would be a very boring film.
Yeah.
No one would buy a ticket.
Exactly. So if your life feels a little chaotic right now, if things are dramatic, maybe it's just a really engaging second act. If you can learn to look at your own stress and say, oh, interesting plot development for my character today, instead of my life is over, you've won. You've changed the game.
You've moved from the screen into the seat. And that distance,
Yeah.
that's where peace lives.
The Source suggests doing these affirmations morning and night. I would really encourage everyone listening, just try it for a week. That's it. Just 1 week. Wake up, tell yourself the diamond is mine, and just see if you walk a little differently through your day.
It's a very small investment for a massive return. Or maybe a massive remembrance.
A remembrance of what you already have. Thank you for walking us home today.
That's always a pleasure.
And to everyone listening, remember, you don't have to climb the mountain. You're already there. We'll catch you in the next deep dive.